The best thing that could come out of a solo expedition, according to me, is you learn how to appreciate people better. And hopefully you start to appreciate yourself better. I've struggled with liking myself for a lot of years in my life, and solo paddling hasn't helped, I don't think. Other than the fact that now as I age, I just turned 50, I really appreciate the company of other people, their perspectives, their stories, their narratives. Companionship is underrated. I wanted to write about my sea kayaking adventures, but by the time I got to the Cabo area on my first 2-month paddleboard or kayak trip down there, the last thing I wanted to do is celebrate my achievements because I hated myself. I didn't like what I was doing. For most of the time on all of my trips, I didn't enjoy day after day after day of the same repetitive labor. So I'd wake up and I would see 30 miles down the coast at this like little blurry landmark that I would watch slowly grow every day. That was horrible for me. Primarily because by the time that landmark, which is a big rock or point or a building or whatever it might be, as it becomes more in focus, the rest of the coast starts to make itself known too. So you see all that other terrain day after day, the same scenery, the same work, the same labor, the same stress, with one person to keep you company. A person who I ended up hating, myself. When you're on a solo expedition where you have just your head nagging you, telling you to do stupid things like paddle at night, telling you to do stupid things like, why don't you paddle all day in the sun naked? These stupid things and same things, and often debating.
When you do these solo adventures, you're a two-faced monster. There's part of you that's so inspired and just being like, you're on top of the world, you're doing something no one's done, you're doing something you've never done, you're pushing your own discomfort button, and you're trying to grow yourself, and you are. But then there's the other side of it. It's like, yeah, but Sean, it's only a 2-hour flight, direct flight from this location. You can go home, go surfing, go to your perfect little coffee shop, sit over the bluff and just listen to the radio. And solo expeditions, they strip you bare, and there's no guidebook on how to handle that scenario because there's so few people that do solo expeditions, and there's so many people that are so afraid to do things on their own because no one else wants to do them with you. And the drumbeat that I've been dancing to my whole life essentially is just simply because no one wants to go with you on these trips never meant you shouldn't go. It's just you have to meditate on the process. You know, even sitting here, the mental side of it is still knocking at your door. I still go from like, yes, I'm relieved I'm here. I'm lucky. I'm really looking forward to plugging my camera into my computer and start looking at the images that I've worked really hard to take and get all the journal entries down on a Word document so I can start sending them in and getting people to read them. And then there's the other side of it. That's like, Sean, you should have just bought 35 days worth of food and sat on a beach for 5 days waiting for the wind to calm.
Let me just say to you and everybody who's considering a multi-day expedition, whether it be on the water, on a board, in a kayak, in the mountains, on skis or climbing, expeditions require one expectation: coming back safely. It's a narcissist who believes that they could accomplish everything as they planned it out. Nature and the environments, the reason why we go into these wild places is because it's unpredictable. And in Baja in particular, the wind changes, the sea changes, the land changes, the mood of the locals change. And being able to adjust to that heartbeat of a wild place means that you're going to be taking 0 days. It means that you're even going to store your board and fly home and recharge those batteries. Fortunately, we have the luxury to do that so that we can have meet that expectation of coming home safely. If a person's planning on being an expedition, paddler, climber, whatever, they're expecting to fail a lot. And I'm not saying that you're failing by any means. I'm saying you're succeeding because you were able to process that and come back down to the reality of, I have all winter essentially to be down there. Why force it in a limited amount of time?
Biggest danger is myself and making the wrong decision, doubting yourself, especially in a scenario where you turn around, you see El Norte coming, because when these winds happen, it's not like you get a 5-mile-an-hour breeze, then a 10, then a 15. It's a wall of whitecaps coming at you. like orcs marching on Helm's Deep. And that's the only way I can describe it. It is incredible. And you have to make a decision at that point because you're looking down the coast. There's no beach to land. Like, what do? You have to just make that decision and hope it works out. And when you're in a state where you're exhausted because you paddled 20 miles yesterday, you're tired, you're sore, you kind of didn't sleep well because you overexerted yourself, you're already not in the best mental health situation to make a good decision. So it's like you have to make that decision at the right time. And of course, that's when the hammerhead shark shows up. That's when the seal comes out of nowhere and starts barking at you from 5 feet away, making you jump out of your skin. Mother Nature, she's not for you. She's not against you. She just is. And that's what I keep reminding myself. It's like Baja is not trying to do this to me on purpose. Baja is just doing Baja. It's supposed to be windy. It's supposed to be rugged. These animals are wild. This coastline is rugged. The Mexicans are friendly. Not all of them. Some of them can be very questionable. But it's unbelievable. I knew going into this trip, I thought the biggest danger for me was going to be the locals. And I can't believe I thought that because they have been my absolute saving grace. They've been amazing. And they're probably going to continue to be. And I will continue going to Baja for the rest of my life because of the people.